Today we are going to talk about three things I read last week. Basically looking at the effects of broadcast. And we did segment it into radio, television, and social media. We have the three groups. The one looking at radio, it affects civil society. And we say we're going to interrogate some theories that explain how radio impacts society. The same thing for television and even for social media. So, without much ado, I would want you guys to break it into your groups. Social media. So the guys in the social media, can they get into their group? It's right there. Okay, the group which is Ken's is what? Radio. Can you get into your group? And then finally, Waboi's group, can you get into your group? Okay, so this is what we're going to do. Get there. Nancy. Me? Yes. Fatima, television getting here. Mishia, get there to social media. Eugene, social media, come to this group. This is television. Get to that group. Sit there. Okay, so quickly, if I may ask, do we have radio here? Do we have radio here? Who represents radio here? Who represents television? Is there social media here? Yes, good. Radio? Do we have social media here? And that one is? Babu? TV. Okay, do we have radio there? Do we have TV there? Do we have social media there? This is what we are going to do very quickly. And I'm sorry, some of you are rattled. But we said, of course, all of us are going to do research in all of them, isn't it? That was our agreement. So what we are going to do in the next 12 minutes, you have actually 12 minutes, 12 to 15 minutes. And you make sure you utilize all those minutes as if you have never have an extra one. You start the way you want. Have the radio person facilitate to you what they have found out in their research. Okay. Then that one will end, and you have the television person doing the same. Then you will end with the social media person facilitating the same thing to you. Okay, so radio person, get on, teach your people what you found out. Let them ask you questions. It's your. Then you choose who is next, the third one, and when we are finished, 15 minutes, I will have you back and we will move from there. So, there you are. There you are. The group leaders can facilitate, can moderate the classes now, the groups. You can choose who goes first. You can time them after 5 minutes and move on. Very quickly, you even discuss the critical questions you are supposed to ask in your areas.
20s up to around 50s there, radio was popular media, right? And radio was used for propaganda during the time of the wars, yeah? World War I and World War II. But in the 1950s, this was the time when TV overtook radio as a primary broadcast media. 1950, TV overtook radio as the primary broadcast media. And in Kenya, radio started in 1927. It was set up to serve white and colonial interests. But even as it wasn't commercial, it wasn't made in by it was still serving post-colonial interests.
Going into social media as a way of interacting with their consumers about their products and about what they were offering. So in the early 1987, it took a boom when MyScape, is it MyScape? I can't remember the name. MySpace. When MySpace came out, it took a boom, and the industry artists like the late Michael Jackson, they're the ones who took into the content of the digital revolution to interact with their fans, and as a result, the public demanded for clear lines of communication, which resulted into a large following of the mass into the digital revolution. By this, the people who are working in the digital revolution were forced now to enhance the services. They were forced to make it better. And as a result, there was a lot of competition. And with that competition came quality services, which now brought quality digital social revolution platforms.
To pay attention to something or to understand and see something doesn't have to be realized, right? So it's uses an application to use a certain media that tries
certain groups of people that others won't be able to access, and which is and then collision is a weakness that the radio there's no vision yet, so you don't see, you're just imagining. It's called the theater of the mind. That's it. It's like a theater in the mind. You have to start creating something. What is happening? Like they used to be seen with the movies. Then you're listening to them, you're imagining how it is. Yeah, please let's hear.
Yes, there's the little signals that you can use. Then there's that button that
Can't. Okay.
as you play it, it affects the signal.
Okay, 20.
Oh, then you can say nowadays there's online journalism. That's a good idea.
But it can also be a weakness because they are not like real journalists. So sometimes it's not like real news. It can be like bias and some, yeah.
But they just put stuff.
Just their point of view. It's not like a real job, you know.
Information may not be accurate because most information on the internet is not correct.
So loss of jobs. Loss of jobs.
Yeah.
Why? Because of the credibility.
Yeah, like for example, print media, so newspaper.
You don't have time to interact with them. Just about you.
I think this is more social media.
So what I did for TV was, TV is part of our lives. TV is a part of our lives, yeah? TV is a... No, just wait. TV, that's me introducing, yeah? Exactly. TV is a form of entertainment and escapism. And in moderation, it's a good thing because it releases the stress levels. After a hard day at work, you just watch a comedy, you laugh, then you're good to go. But on the bad side, TV can be a form of escapism, yes? And the example that they gave is, imagine a 20-year-old.
People are so much into the news, to political impact, whereby then it also brought something that was not there. There was no the job in it, and then you understand that people, when it became positive one.
impact.
A positive impact.
To see, specifically making friends, speedy communication, in touch with the world.
When MySpace came out, it took a boom and the
What's funny is that revolution, I think 90% of access the theory is that
and most of the information
when you go to see something,
is not
for
I mean, people can hack into your account and get your information and stuff.
Okay. Who's Gishia's group is what? Ready. Okay, so Ken, just to give us a brief summary of your work.
now that I have 5 minutes, I want to give a brief history of radio. Radio, as you know, it started first time in Canada radio was about 1896. Some Italian guy called Guglielmo Marconi. He was a physicist and he was interested in the works of Hertz. Hertz was a guy who had discovered audio waves, and this Marconi guy was able to transmit some audio signals for radios of about 1.6 kilohertz. And that was later came to develop what we call as radio. The first radio broadcast was about in 1981 in America. That is when we were to get a message, not the messages. Alright, our messages relayed across the Atlantic. Right? Then from then on, radio became a very popular media. The history that there is there in America was very, very popular. Later, big wars in the world war churn out propaganda. And about in 1950, TV overtook radio. Came to Kenya, radio first came to Kenya in 1900, and the 20s there. 1927, when KBC was set up by the colonial government, mostly to serve white and colonial interests. Then in about the 30s there, 1939, the colonial government set up what was called Department of Information Services, yeah? And they set up broadcasting outlets for 8 main languages that were spoken there, but still it was meant to serve still white interests. Jumping along and coming to present day, we find that commercial radio started in the 90s when Kenya reverted back to multi-party democracy. And we see 1996, Capital FM came in there as the first privately owned radio station. And today we have a plethora of audio outlets. What makes radio unique? Radio is cheap, it's easily accessible. Radio is personal. We listen to radio at personal levels. We don't need to congregate. Radio is highly segmented. That is, it appeals to very specific.
I may ask you just like to follow a little bit.
All right, I'm saying radio is personal. All right, we say that it's accessible, and radio, you can listen to radio and do other things all together. You can be listening to Classic 105 as you drive or as you do your laundry. All right, that makes it very, very popular. Then radio is accessible even to those who cannot read and write. It makes it a very, very powerful form of media. There are some theories that have been put across to try and show how we interact with radio and how it influences. One of these theories can be like social learning. This posits that by observing some things, right, we learn some things. But then again, even after learning, it doesn't mean that when we learn, we change our behavior. And by observing things, I take observation to mean that to observe doesn't have to be only with the eyes, because the English definition of the word observe is to critically look at something, alright? So when you do that, we learn something, alright? And even though it's not a must that we change our behavior, but we've learned something nonetheless. Another theory that I find that nowadays can be used to understand radio so much is the political economic theory. This posits that, well, the way radio is now structured, and also commercial radio, they are there to produce communication products for sale. So communication products are sold in the market. It's the same way we sell clothes, shoes, and what have you, all right? So they are there just to make money, all right? And some questions that we wanted to ask about radio, and I inferred into the works of this German philosopher who was called Heidegger. And Heidegger, he wrote and he asked this simple question: what is a thing? All right? Then he came again and asked, who are we for a thing to emerge as a thing for us? And what is our place in the world for a thing to emerge as a thing for us? So I interpose these things and I replace the word a thing with radio. What is radio? All right? For it to emerge as a thing for us. And who are we for radio to emerge as a thing for us? And what is our place in the world for radio to emerge as a thing? And this is the answers I provide to these fundamental questions. That one, radio is a very powerful medium, all right? And as McLuhan writes and says that the message is in the medium, all right? So the way radio is structured, all right, in a way affects the way that communication or information contained in it reaches to us and how we respond to it. Who are we? Kenya is a melting pot of cultures, right? We have over 40 different groups, communities, and what have you. But then again, our country, to a large extent, is segmented along ethnic lines, all right? What happened in 2007 is still fresh in our minds, all right? And a mere fact that a journalist was taken to The Hague to answer to crimes against humanity shows the power that radio can do to a fragmented society. Another thing that radio does, based on who we are, is that radio can be used, all right, to mitigate these challenges that we have, all right, and to transform us or to take us back into being a country. Now, I've argued for a long time that Kenya, as we are not really, we may be a state, but my presupposition is that we have never been a nation. We are a collection of ethnic groups, and radio can play a vital role into putting us together. The colonialists put us together in one corner and called us Kenya. But I tell you, the truth of the matter is that there are very few things that put us together, all right? And radio can play a big role into identifying these things that put us together and integrate us into one community. Another thing that radio has done is that it carries with it language and content, all right? Most of commercial radio, laden with content that is sexually explicit, and as I keep arguing, it is morally reprehensible. So a lot needs to be done to change that. And another key thing that we need to do as we interact with radio as a state, we need to have skills that will enable us to interact better with radio. I argue that Kenya as a country and the audio audience that we have in Kenya, we are not so much media literate. All right? We do not really know how to interact with this powerful radio. The radio exists now. It's like jump. People do Yes. Yes, Eugene.
You talk about these issues that become regional based or ethnic based in our country. So what is your way forward in addressing these issues through radio? Because radio is supposed to be a native factor, but in Kenya it has been said that it is something that divides people based on the tribal language.
First, I would say that the problem that we have, first and foremost, stems from the regulation of this powerful medium. The radio as it is now, it's like a jungle. People do whatever they want to do. So the state and the powers that be need to have some checks and balances to ensure that you cannot use the airwaves, all right, which are not yours. You're just holding them, all right, on behalf of the country, all right. They need to regulate that so that you cannot put some things there, all right, that can disturb the peace. Secondly, if you're a radio journalist or you're a presenter, all right, there is something called social responsibility, all right, that with freedoms comes responsibility. You enjoy the freedom to put your opinion across, all right. Section 34 of the Constitution, I think, allows you to do that, but there has to be responsibility with it. Rights without responsibility only exist in the jungle, not in a civilized state.
Okay, a final.
One boy.
What was the question you asked for your group?
Then who are we for radio to influence us, all right? And what is our position in the world for radio to influence us? But it was tied up with the philosophy of Heidegger.
That's a well done presentation. But as far as we've heard from you, on the radio part, my question is, there are really suggestive issues or topics of discussion per se that tend to raise a lot of concern. So my question is, what are some of the ways in which the media has taken to regulate this?
The media as an entity on its own.
Yeah, the radio part.
The radio bit.
Yeah, the radio bit. Whatever content or that comes out of it, be it suggestive or offensive. How is the media? What have they done to ensure that they can minimize whatever the vulgar stuff that goes into the radio?
Well, this is my submission that if it is commercial, if it is meant to make mullah, that's money, all right, then I think we are losing our direction, all right?
If I may get to this question.
Yes.
He's asking, the media itself.
Yeah, what have they done?
What is it doing?
Yeah.
Does it have any?
Yes. I was heading there. All right. So to try to deal with this, the media set up what we call the Media Owners Association. All right, and they have some checks and balances. All right, into looking at how these things are done. All right, and it's as a member of that group, when you do something that goes against the code of conduct, all right, then there are some consequences and repercussions that will come your way. But to the best of my knowledge, I think, well, how do you, it's like putting together a pack of, no, let me not say that, but the thing is, when you have people who are together, who share a similar interest, and it becomes a little hard, all right? It's like if me and you're pals, and you've done something bad, how will I discipline you? And I know next time I'll be the one on the wrong. Yeah? It's kind of what is happening at the African Union. You have a pack of dictators. How can they control each other? They really can't. So I tend to think that you cannot have the monkeys to judge the affairs of the forest. All right?
Yeah, I think, well said. Yeah, and you know, you can ask it as we have another person. So we're going to give us 5 minutes to make a summary.
We were doing the history of television. It was invented by John Byrd. It was developed by John Byrd. The spelling for his name is B-A-I-R-D. The colored TV was developed between 1946 and 1950. And in 1954, the first color television was made, the first 21-inch color television. Here in Kenya, we got TV in the year 1962 under VOK, which later became KBC. The theories that we found here was uses and gratification theory, which is where you don't ask how the media influences us, but what we do with the information we get from the media. We also got the cultivation theory, which is TV influences us negatively and makes the world look more superficial than it actually is. For example, in the program CSI, for those of you who have watched it, with what you watched, you tend to think, for example, if you are walking in Hellstrom at night, you'd think something bad is going to happen to you, like what you've seen in the movies. Another theory that you came up with is socialization, where most people learn values from what they see. For example, if you're a child and you, like when you are younger, you're left watching TV where, let's say, your mom is outside. So you've gotten values, some of the values you have, you've gotten from TV. The strengths of TV, it's persuasive because you can see and hear. Like for example, in an advert, you'd buy, let's say, Omo because you're convinced that it actually has those micro power granules, like how they magnify them on TV. It engages emotion. You can laugh, you can cry with the people on TV. It's credible because, for example, on radio, if you are told, for example, a certain political candidate said something or did something and you didn't see it, on TV you see and you hear it. It's flexible, you can change from one channel to another. TV is very wide, as we have, let's say, DSTV, all those packages, we have a variety of channels with them. Weaknesses, it's not interactive. Yeah, you just watch, you get information, you're not giving information. It's expensive to set up, like the licensing cost and everything. It doesn't cater for individual differences a lot of the time. It just shows you what will help them get money. It affects education. For example, here in class, there have been many times like someone says something and how we always argue our point out is we always say, I saw on TV, or you remember that news feature, you know. Yeah, and it can also affect our eyesight because of the rays of the TV. The question that we posed as a group was how to stop sexuality used in attracting viewership. Yes. Any questions?
You were talking about how to stop sexuality on TV viewership. Just explain to us how you can stop that, considering that people consider sex as being one of the priorities that sells media.
Your question is how to stop it? Yes. It depends on you as an organization and your values, your vision and your mission, what you're aiming to do. Yes.
Okay, let's move on so that we finish quickly. Model.
You've said that television is not interactive, yet there are some programs that even when they are on air, they say that you can talk to us on Twitter, on Facebook, and we'll communicate to you. Isn't that being interactive enough?
And most of those programs, for example, news, they say send in your comments. Very few programs actually interact with you on a one-on-one level, and they do it for show, although it is, but very rarely.
So basically you're saying yes, it interacts, or you're saying no, yes?
I'm saying yes, it interacts, but very minimally.
We came up with television not being interactive because you cannot stop a program to give you feedback. Television goes on and on. If a program is airing and you think it's not right, you can't stop it like, don't air that. It continues, so it's not interactive. That's why we came up with that, with television being not interactive. As for you, Jill, I think television, the sexuality in television falls back to the social responsibility, back to the culture of the community, and back to the moral values of that society, and the degree to which that particular station upholds the morals and cultures of that particular society. So the sexuality can only be regulated by us, by the people in the media, by how much you respect the culture of that community. Yeah, that's my take.
Okay, just a comment as we have that group coming about the interactivity of television. What of even listening to Kambi talking? This is just a comment. I've seen some culture where somebody is invited they are making a presentation and somebody calls from outside to question, to query, or to comment on that particular comment being made to the student. Is that not interactive enough? I mean, I've seen some guys being really taken into account of what they have just said then. Somebody is calling to say, no, I don't think so. Maybe it's a politician who is saying, I have done wow, I've done all these. Somebody calls from the computer to say, we have not seen them. Anyway, that is just food for thought. When you say, you make the comments, you are able to see the different sides of the coin. And because of time, I think we are just going to invite, lastly, is it the social media group? As the social media group comes, you can bring your question. Make a comment, it's okay.
The thing about television, about interactive, is that during those debates where a person calls in, it's scripted because time is allotted for that specific person to call. Otherwise, if there is no time that is allotted, that call won't be heard and the show will go on. So you can actually say that it's a controlled interactivity, meaning that it's not interactive. Thank you.
This program airs on TV Tuesdays, My Unspoken. When a person speaks about what has happened to them in the past, and as you're watching, you can relate to them because maybe it happened to you the same way. Can you say that is being interactive?
I think that falls in the strengths of TV enhances emotion. So I think at that particular time that you're relating with the situation that is going on with the television, it's about evoking emotion more than interactivity. Because interactivity is more of give and take. So in that program, it's more of evoking emotion according to my opinion, actually.
But still interacting because you're relating to the person.
Yeah, our question is very critical because she's talking about emotions. What a better way to interact with people if not by engaging their emotions? Is that not a very critical way? And she's...
It's one way.
It's one way.
Then how interactive is it? If it's just one person who is talking and me who is watching at home, the only thing I'm getting is satisfying my emotion or involving my emotion. I'm not saying anything or adding anything.
But you're still getting advice because
interaction.
The point of that discussion is usually to state your problems and then there's someone who's going to help you. As much as that person is helping the person on TV, you're relating to that person. So you're also getting help. So how is that not interaction?
But okay, what Nancy is saying, if it is a one-way communication, I think we should say it's one way. If, of course, somebody will not text about the emotions or call about the emotion. But you know, if you call or you text, the communication is better. Isn't it? Okay, so let's have Solomon.
Good morning, people. My name is Jacob Solomon, and I'm representing the social media group. Before I begin the presentation, I'd like for us to go on a journey back in time to where we all started. Simple beginnings. 1969, CompuServe was the first major commercial internet service provider in USA, and it used a technology called dial-up. It dominated in the 1980s and 1990s. If many can remember calling on phone, then that annoying beep tone for and then going on the internet, and it was very slow. And then in 1971, the first email was delivered, and that actually really changed the communication. While people were, it extended the borders. Borders were not now physical boundaries, but now communicational boundaries in ways in which we could communicate with people around the world. And the email actually allowed trans-border communications to be possible. Secondly, in 1978, two Chicago computer hobbyists created a buffering board system that was able to inform friends of meetings and share information. In 1984, the Prodigy online service was introduced, and it became the largest ISP in 1990 with 465,000 subscribers. In 1994, Beverly Hills started GeoCities, which allowed users to co-create their own websites, which right now allows the individuality system of users to create their own websites by their own selves, as long as you have the knowledge for that. In 1998, the MySpace started, one of the first social networking sites. Then after that followed High Five, if anybody can remember. Then 2002, Facebook changed the whole system. 2006, Twitter came, changed the whole system. 2005, YouTube came, and right now, that's what really dominates our culture. And that is the
That well said, eh? Just tell us the effects of that.
Yes, that's where I'm going to right now. We've finished the journey, we've come to the present, yeah? Okay, one thing I would like to say about the social impact is that of media is evolution, revolution, and contribution. These are the three hallmarks that drive technology, politics, and communication. Evolution, that is to change. In a communication perspective, to change the way we communicate. What social networking has done basically is allow communication to be instantaneous anytime, and the good thing with social networking is that many people can get the same message at the same time. Revolution. Right now, one good thing about social networking is that it traps it overturns the gatekeeping theory. Nowadays it's not big corporations or one individual or a collective of individuals controlling the flow of information. Right now, information is free, and that comes at a cost also, because we cannot regulate that information, we cannot validate that information. But the good point is that it is there, it's for us, and it's our duty to find what is right and wrong. So in a way, it is our social responsibility to be able to filter what is out there. Secondly, what does it contribute? It is a way for bridging cultural, communication, political gaps that this world has created. So in a way, it is from a heterogenic society, we become a homogenized society, one society, speaking through one word, through one coordinated stroke, to at least create this one culture system. It may be bad in one extent because we are losing ourselves, but at the end of the day, we are becoming stronger through unity. And I would like to talk about the social impacts, the negative impacts first. Social media, on the bad side, creates a false sense of connection, because people believe that seeing the likes they get, seeing the amount of friends is a way to quantify the popularity. But at the end of the day, you may have all those numbers, but is it of quality? And that's what many people are, those lines are being blurred. People are concentrating more on the statistics that they are getting in the social world than the real deep connections that we get in this physical, tangible world that we have right now. And another major impact is cyberbullying. Cyberbullying has become, actually it's the worst form of bullying right now, because people spend so much time on these social profiles and reverence them so much that it can affect them, even make some commit suicide. In a 2010 CBS report, it was reported that among 42% of the youth in United States have reported cases of cyberbullying. And that is not limited to United States alone. Even here in Africa, I can personally say that I have gone through cyberbullying where someone actually entered my profile and then posted as many pornographic pictures as possible. And then when I go in, I'm getting all these comments like, hey, what's happening? Why are you doing this? Then also another example in high school was during a play, there was a scene where I was playing dead. So someone actually photographed that scene, then started an RIP page of Jacob had died and all those things, and it was actually a pretty serious case. And another thing is social media is also a form of distraction. Mostly in the workplace, it has been reported by Nucleus Research that Facebook shaves off 1.5% of office productivity. And Morse, a British analyst, went further to say and to quantify this that if you put 1.5%, that actually shaves off 2.2 billion pounds of the British economy is taken off just by social networking. And also, social networking is an infringement on privacy. Right now, with the timeline view in Facebook, someone can just go to your Facebook profile, scroll down and see all the activity you've done, and compile all that. And if you have bad, let's say, some controversial content on your page, they can actually use it to blackmail you. And also companies can actually use that against you and refuse to give you a job.
I think well said by Solomon. What are the critical questions you asked? We could engage the class on that.
Okay. The critical question is, how does one regulate social media? And I actually believe that the only way to regulate social media is through social responsibility, because the internet is too wide, it's too vast. But if each of us as individuals actually takes an active role in validating and actually making sure that the content that comes out is of statute nature, we can actually move closer to making the internet a better and free communication resource. Thank you, people.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Now, Jacob, I have this question. You've talked elaborately of how social media and networks are influencing our lives and stuff like that. But are you aware that this thing, I know it rides on the internet, but internet connection in Africa is below 13%. And you're speaking, Africa has a population of about 1 billion. So how do you quantify and analyze, all right, the effect and the influence of this powerful thing, whereas so many of us cannot access it?
First of all, if you're talking about internet connectivity in terms of the computer, then you are correct. But social media is beyond that. Right now, it is available on all phones and about almost all handsets apart from the Kabambe, which is actually being phased out. And a new phone.
My statistics are based on everything that people use, from computers to laptops to cellular phones, to even that thing that we've never seen on planet Earth.
Never seen on planet Earth. I wonder how you quantify that. But anyway, it's growing in Africa, we can say that. And the funny thing is, in those reports, that Africa is actually having a 35% increase in handsets sold every day, and that was a survey done by Samsung on the ripe business that they have here in Africa and especially Kenya. So it may be below 30%, but not for long. 13. Yeah, but that's not for long.
Really?
Not for long.
Okay, we can have another question for the group as we finalize. Okay, if I may ask, overall, how would you rate, social media in terms of effects to the society? Is it And then is it a good thing in terms of waiting?
Well, I can't say whether it's bad or good. What I can actually say is that, like any tool, social media can be used for bad or good. It just depends on the person. You can use social media for all the wrong things or all the right things. And at the end of the day, I think it's a good thing. It's actually a very good thing.
Okay, give him a clap. Thank you guys for that interaction. If I want to get a feedback from you, how would you like our today's class in terms of feedback and learning?
In terms of feedback, it was quite good. In terms of our group presentations, I feel that our group has done the best in terms of performance because our presentation was clear and concise. And I think this effort should be continued to enhance not only our vocal skills but also our presentation skills as a whole.
I liked the class presentation. It was interactive. Everyone was whatever was being said and whatever you didn't know or you didn't learn. And I liked Jacob Solomon's presentation.
I just want to second that. Jacob Solomon's presentation was amazing. Same to Ken's and the other one and Bombo. Okay, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it like that. I just meant that all of them were great. They were great.
And you know, the good thing with this is you guys have been able to look for content, to do some research, and to be able to, present it. And I think that is all what learning is about. Learning is not about a certain teacher coming to stand or to sit here in front to tell you things. Because as Solomon is telling us, there's so much to learn from elsewhere. A teacher just becomes a mere, facilitator because we can learn from so many ways. And that is the best learning. You will never forget what you learn through research, through discussions, and so forth. So guys, thank you very much. May God bless you.